Hello guys, welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Now we've got some more news and it's like the boxing world is starting to wake back up after Christmas and the New Year. But this news, it's not bad, but it's definitely not great. Errol Spence looks set to fight Keith Thurman at 154, which obviously, as we all know, is the division above where he currently holds his unified welterweight titles. Now, Ray, there's a very, very big elephant in the room that we simply can't ignore here. But before we get to that, just talk to me about this fight, because if we'd had the Crawford fight, I'd be quite happy with this fight.
I still think in isolation, it's a good fight. I still think it's a good trade fight. I think the problem is we've waited a long time for this Crawford fight, and it's coming into that category of a fight that will eventually happen, but it will be too late. And I'm talking about your Manny Pacquiao's versus Floyd Mayweather's, and on these shows, your Kell Brooks versus Amir Khan. We shouldn't be waiting, to have this fight in 2025 or whatever it is. This fight should have already taken place, and it should be this year at the very, very latest. Having said that, though, let's just say Crawford wasn't in the division and he was at 140. This would be seen as a decent fight. I wouldn't say an excellent fight. Maybe years ago I would have done, but Keith Thurman's been so inactive. I think that's taken the spice out of it a little bit. In terms of a name, there could have been a lot worse for Spence to come up with.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm going to be controversial here. Is this a PBC problem? Because it feels like every time we start talking about PBC fighters, inactivity is the word that follows. And we've both had this issue, since we've been doing the channel through the pandemic and COVID. Inactivity caused an obvious issue. But with most other stables, we've started to come away from that now. Whereas with PBC, it's still a bit of an issue, isn't it? And I know they've got their in-house policy of trying to keep it all, they only fight each other from within the stable.
Yeah.
But it's not working, is it?
It's clearly it isn't working. And I think what the problem is, it's not exposing their boxers to the best competition that other promoters are offering, other TV platforms are offering. It appears to me on the outside that it looks like these guys are happy with the Al Heyman money, and they're happy to just stay within ranks. They're happy to go long periods of time without fighting anybody else because they're well paid to do so. And the problem with that is it inflates the market because fighters are getting paid an awful lot of money to fight what we would term as bang average fights. So it messes up the market financially for everybody else, and it makes it difficult. So this in-house matchmaking is a problem. And the reason why it's such a problem is because the caliber of opponents that they've got, when you look through their rota and you go through their divisions, they haven't got a lot of in the welterweight division, not because obviously they've got the Charlos in the division above, but you wouldn't match Spence against them because obviously they're from the same state and they get on well. But the likes of Porter, who's already faced, Berto's practically retired. There's talk about Rolando Romero, but for me, he's a lightweight. There's other opponents there. You talk about Austin Trout, 154, Tim Zhu, 154, but realistically, are they going to bring him the same sort of revenue, same sort of payday? Jesse Vargas, but for me, he's pretty much a full-time commentator. So when you look at what PBC have got, just off the top of your head there, I can't think of, because they're so close ranks, I can't think of anyone who jumps out at you that would think this is a good fight for Spence, which makes the whole thing a mockery.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with anything you say, mate. I mean, I did see as part of this sort of unofficial announcement putting leaked across social media, also saying that post-fight, he'll then have 60 days to negotiate the undisputed fight with Crawford. But there's also a lot of comments and from fairly reliable sources that obviously it's no secret Spencer struggled to make 147 for a long while, even back to when he fought Kell Brook. and they were talking about Brook making weight.
Yeah.
Spence's team were like, well, it's not so easy for us. And that was back in May 2017. Here we are 6 years on. I think, anybody can say as age comes in, it gets harder to cut weight. Is this a situation for me where we're going to miss the boat completely for an undisputed fight at 147, and possibly we end up seeing Crawford Spence at 154, whether it be for a title or just because we're going to get the fight?
Well, yeah, I would. I shouldn't really be saying this, but I would still be happy with that. I just want to see it. I still want to see the two of them fight. I think you can get an idea. I think for me, even at 154, it favors Spence even more because he's got a bigger frame. I think that's the only problem with having that fight at 154. This fight for me, even if both guys relinquished their respective belts, Crawford gave up the WBO and Spence gave up the other three. This is still a massive fight at welterweight, and it's still a big fight at 154. These two are just the big names. I think it's a big fight America's crying out for. I get your problem. I get your issue about the weight, and I've said it previously. I think for me, the longer this is drawn out, the more it depletes Errol Spence because he is really, really struggling at that weight.
No, I 100% agree. And I might be clutching in saying this, but I'm hoping this is I'll get to 154 because obviously he's not fought for a while, so we don't really know where his weight is. I'll get to 154. I've got 60 days to then sort the undisputed clash with Crawford.
Exactly.
And I won't balloon, so he'll use this fight as a payday, get rid of the ring rust, and as a sort of stepping stone down to 147.
Yeah. And I think
it's that.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way of looking at it because I can't see any other way. He has got that 60-day window, if you like. And I think, once Spence gets the weight off, I think he'll be concentrated. He'll be back in the gym. Derek James will have him back in the gym, and they'll be dealing with all the negotiations. But yeah, I do think that if it's not that, then it leaves Spence with no option but to stay at 154 because apart from Butenis, who
he's not going to fight.
He didn't put on the best performance in his last fight, did he? Against the Ukrainian Karen Chuketian. I still think that actually there's no one left for him at welterweight, so he's got no business there. So I think he'll stay at 154 if he doesn't get that Crawford fight, but we'll have to see.
No, I totally agree. I don't actually think, sadly, we'll see Boots Ennis fight Crawford or Spence. I think he's a trade fighter. We're all big fans of him, but he doesn't attract the casual, so he doesn't probably attract the revenue. And let's be honest, he's a killer. There's no other way about it.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the Saturday performance. Form is temporary, class is permanent and all that. Yeah. I'd back him to beat both, to be fair.
Yeah.
But there you have it, guys. That's the news. Let us know in the comment section what you think. I imagine we can probably guess what people are going to be saying. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one.